So in tonight's video, I'm gonna talk about why being bored is a giant red flag for your life. All right. Um, I remember a few years ago when I was kind of drifting, with my life. I was working just some random jobs, hopping back and forth, and just not knowing what I want to do with my life. I felt very lost. I felt very bored with life. I would wake up, super late in the middle of the day, and go on my phone, scroll, eat out, and sometimes I hit the gym, maybe see the same friends I've been seeing for the past 10 years. Um, then I, go back home, eat a late ass dinner at night, go scroll again, go on YouTube, maybe watch a movie, go sleep super late, and I felt like my life was so boring, I was doing the same thing over and over and over again, seeing the same people, and I love my friends and stuff and family that I was with, but it felt like it was just so monotonous and boring and very just like unexciting, um, and like I was thinking back, nowadays I don't really get too bored as I did back then, even though I work a relatively boring job right now. Like I just sit in the office right now, um, but I'm trying to think like why was I so bored, and the thing I came up with is because like I wasn't doing anything that was pushing myself. Okay, like if right now if you are bored in your life, it is because you're in a comfort zone. You're not doing anything that is like pushing yourself, anything scary, nothing exciting, nothing new, And the reason it's a giant red flag is because like you're wasting your fucking life, okay? Um I'm trying not to, just come on here and lecture, but if I could talk to myself back then, I would tell him that he needs to do something that scares the hell out of him. All right, do something that actually excites him, that gets him, gets his heart rate up in a good way. Okay, because like if you're just doing the same thing over and over, of course you're gonna be bored. You already know what's gonna happen next. Okay, it's like if you watched a movie already, and the second time, the fifth time you watch it, you're not gonna have that same level of emotional like spike, of like excitement because you already know what's going to happen. All right, just like the routine you're in right now, you've been doing it so much, you already know like what the hell the day's going to look like. All right, and this is why I feel like a lot of people, these days, especially if you're in a very comfortable environment, a comfortable country, you got a lot of things provided for you, given to you, like I was in the past. You might feel like super bored and even maybe even depressed because like because your mind, right, the human mind likes to make problems when there is none. All right, evolutionarily speaking, we have evolved to solve problems, and to be honest, we're not really comfortable with just having everything granted to you, full access to food on demand, DoorDash, TV, entertainment, dopamine on a press of a button, or dopamine in your pocket, like from your phone. And like once you're like all your basic needs are met, and you have all these stimulus, all this dopamine, all this instant gratification coming at you, and you don't really have to work for anything, like, and you don't have any like actual real problems in your life, like your mind, your soul, your heart is not is longing for like some meaning, right? Because meaning comes from overcoming difficulty. Meaning comes from struggle, right? Any kind of movie you ever watch, any kind of story you read, book you read, anime you watch, anything like that that actually like has your attention is because there is a conflict in there. There's a problem, and there's some kind of story. Like you were not watching a guy just live his life perfectly with no issues or anything. That's fucking boring, all right? Just like if you're living that kind of life right now, that's why like you need to get out of your house, or if you're get out of your comfort zone, do something new that excites you. Um, like I think that like being bored is like one of the worst feelings, and it's not even because like it's physically painful. I think it's like it's like painful for your soul because your soul is dying. You know, when you're in your comfort zone and you're not doing anything to live life. You know, basically, like if you're bored, that means like that is no different from a guy on his deathbed. Like if we're talking like his soul, you know, you physically you might be still good and moving around, but if your soul is not alive, if you don't feel like you know you have a reason to get up in the morning, and you're not fighting for something, you're not working towards any kind of goals, like that's a scary place to be. So like you know, I would say ask yourself, right? Sit down and ask yourself, like, what do I feel like doing right now? What would I want to do? And just fucking go and do it, right? Even if it sounds unreasonable to other people, even if it sounds like fucking like way out there and stuff like that. If it's something that you genuinely get excited about, but you know there's a level of fear in there that you know maybe this is not me, this is not for me, you know, maybe I might fail. That's the shit you got to do, man. You know, for example, I'm gonna give it like a very cringe ass example, okay? Like I've always like had like this difficulty what you call talking to chicks growing up, and I kind of still do to this day. I'm still kind of working on it, but like 18-year-old me would like shit his pants and just like cringe internally at the idea of asking a girl out, like period, you know. So like I struggled with this for a while, and you know, I think I read an article somewhere about like this thing called code approach, where you basically go up to a chick that you think is hot, and you ask them out, or you talk to them, try to get their number, this kind of stuff, shoot your shot basically, and like I don't know why, but that idea kind of excited me, and I was thinking like, what better way to get rid of this fear than to just attack it head on? And for a period of time, I went through a phase where I was doing that. I was code approaching, you know, and it was really cringe. I'm not gonna lie. Like if anybody saw it, anyone who was around, my friends, they were like just running for cover, didn't want to be seen in that vicinity. But like that shit was actually very exciting for me, and I was not bored a single second during that time, you know, compared to when I was just like not doing anything and just you know clocking in, clocking out, you know. So it doesn't matter like what your like what your thing is that's gonna get you out of the boredom, as long as you know obviously it's not like fucking something crazy, stupid, dangerous to other people, harming others. But if it needs to be something that pushes you though, and that gets you uncomfortable, gets your heart rate up, it makes you feel alive, right? You want to feel alive, right? Because this life is short, and you don't have time to waste it, you know, just freaking being bored. Okay, I don't know like what else, like how else I can say this, but yeah, guys, I'd say, you know, you want to every day, you want to do something that scares you. So when you go to bed at night, you feel genuinely physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and your soul, you know, as a person, you felt like you did everything today. And that's how you get the best sleep. That's how you feel satisfied, fulfilled, and you wake up the next day ready to attack it again. So like to share it if this video helps, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.